Welcome once again. This is Majesty Christian Television Network, and my name is Apostle Helen Duncan, your hostess tonight on this topic: battle against dropping out of school among the migrants in Amsterdam Southeast. And if you have been following us, some of our panelists have really told us some of the reasons why our children drop out of school. And among the reasons mentioned are lack of motivation, lack of role model, lack of participation of parents in school, and parents as well trying to compensate their kids by giving them expensive things and so on. So we encourage you to join us, call us as well on the studio line and make your own remarks regarding to this topic. We have seasoned panelists here. We have two seasoned parents and also youth. And so these parents as well who are here studied in this environment, so they know what they are talking about. So join us as we deliberate on this issue. As our first question, we've answered it. So the second question is, how do we notice that a child is dropping out of school?
Yeah.
I think that's a very interesting one for me, because if every parent will just put their eyes down and begin to notice, pick some of these points, then it wouldn't be an embarrassment anymore when you hear that somebody have dropped out of school.
Exactly.
And I believe that if we put our eyes down, we are able to capture some of the points we're going to mention now, then we will help other parents who are also struggling, so that we can become an eye for them, so that their kids wouldn't go astray, you know, they wouldn't drop out of school, and then we are wondering why. But if we see that this kid is, this child or this youth is behaving this way, then we already know these are the signs. Then we can move in to begin to talk to that child or talk to the parents.
Yeah.
I believe that's the purpose of all of this discussion.
Yes, certainly.
Okay, so how do we notice that a child is dropping out of school?
Yeah, I
You
think
said something.
Yes,
All right.
I talked about their withdrawal
Yes, their
from
withdrawal.
if you are used to a child and they start withdrawing from
Yes,
you,
withdrawal, yes.
especially if the topic of education comes up, then you know that, hey, there's something here. Then maybe you may want to contact their parents, or if you know the school, you may want to contact the school and find out. That is being proactive. That is being proactive in case of the child. You know, I've done it before, so it's, you can do it. That is if you put your heart to do it. Some people will tell you, "But out of my business." There's none of your business. But again, if you are around kids and you want to help your own society or your community, and then you see that a child is in need, why not? If you can do it, why not? You know. So make the call and let the child you know that, hey, I was very happy because when I called the school, they told me, he was in school, and gave me some other information that he himself did not give me. So when I knew that information, okay, at least I was at peace at that moment. You know that, okay, he's going. And then another thing is bad friends. Bad friends, because when you notice your child starts going out and come home at 10:30, 11 o'clock, you say, hey, listen, you have to be in bed at 10 o'clock. But you can't go out and come home at this time. It's not possible. And they would insist. They can start insisting. You know, I have to go. Then you know already that, hey,
there is
something. You may not know everything, but those are pointers. When they start going out and coming home late, think about it. So for me, those are the two
our eyes
things.
also have to be on their friends, the type of friends,
the kind of friends,
their gangs and their cliques.
Around your friends.
Oh yeah.
Yes, to know what sort of people they are keeping.
Yeah, my example was know their parents. My child doesn't go to a house that I don't know the people. I make sure that I am friends with the parents, so that if sometimes they want sleep over, I said no, you can't go sleep over when I don't know who is in that house.
Yeah, exactly. It's
right.
true.
So those are the things. Yeah.
It's not need too much.
No, they like it sometimes. It's fun. But you have to know who is that. So if they want to be friends with the parent, so draw closer to the parent.
Yes.
The parent, draw closer to those people. You don't have to be friends like them, but talk to the parent.
Yeah.
Because when you talk to them, you begin to understand their value. And when if the value is like, okay, at 15 you can drink alcohol, then my child's not coming there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Because so, but until you talk, you for me it's like you just have to be vigilant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me those are the things that you have to. You have to
Let's
look
hear
at,
more.
you know.
Yeah, as we were saying, that withdrawal or that absenteeism when they start staying away from school. So, when they start giving all manner of excuses for not going to school.
Wow.
I think that is an early indication that they might be at risk of dropping out.
Yes.
And also I think for the age group that we are talking about, from that 18 going, I believe that when there is a high turnover of courses, by that I mean when they start skipping from course to course because they are not satisfied with what they are doing, or that they don't find that is what they should be doing.
Yes.
There is a high probability that they could be dropping out. So I think we need to also watch out for that. It's always for the age group at that time. It's quite difficult to pinpoint exactly what people want to do, what they actually want from their life, from their careers. It's quite difficult at times. So people are trying to orientate a little bit, and when it becomes difficult for people, for youth to pinpoint exactly what they want to do or what actually fits with them, they may be interested, but because they are not really finding finding the something that they can say for themselves, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for, this is exactly what I want to do. Until they have found that, they keep searching, and sometimes that search, if they don't find what they are looking for quickly enough, there is a high chance that they might just give up and drop out completely. So that's also an indication, an early indication that could pinpoint to dropping out. And another factor perhaps also, but that also is featured in all the points that we're making, is interest. When they start losing interest for school, it's always a difficult thing, but when people start losing that interest, then that's very, very, then it can go very quickly. The process of dropping out can go very quickly. So the interest shifts to other things. I've had friends who all of a sudden didn't want to be so much involved in school anymore. They wanted to be more involved in, they would say, their creative side. So now they want to be making beats or making music, becoming DJs or something else, And so that the interest for school and education.
You have to get the certificate first before you digress to any other interest.
But that's the thing. When they lose the interest,
at the end of the day, the interest may not sustain you,
Precisely. So when they start losing the interest, they sort of feel like, okay, I'm talented in this area, so let me focus my attention there.
Talent.
And so what happens at times is that sort of also contributes to people dropping out. So I think those are some of the areas that we can watch out for.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and sometimes parents would want to push their children to certain areas. I come from Nigeria, and from the Igbo tribe. There's no family among the Igbo people that you wouldn't find doctor, engineer, and lawyer, accountant. So their course revolves around that area. So when you now have a child who is not able to be a doctor, not a lawyer, not an accountant
Yeah.
or an
Engineer.
engineer. The child feels that the world has collapsed.
And that is one of a great mistakes that parents are also doing.
Yeah.
Because God made everyone different.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And everyone has his own different talent and a road the child must go on.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible says, train up a child in the way that
Yes.
the child should go. So
Yes,
every
he will not
particular
depart.
child has a particular way.
Yeah.
And in order to know that way is for us to know our children better.
Yeah.
If you don't know your child better, the child may choose a wrong way and it may lead to dropout.
Yeah.
Because last month or 3
It's
weeks
true.
ago, I went to parent teachers meeting
Yeah.
in my younger child's school.
Yeah.
And we got an information that the second year they are choosing their career. So I got mad and I said,
Really?
yeah, that's early. That children who are teenagers, their minds cannot even focus on a particular thing.
Yeah.
Their minds are not fully developed
Yeah.
to know whatever they need.
Yeah.
How come you people allow these small ones to choose a career? It is not possible. So I was arguing so much with
Really?
with the teachers,
Yeah.
and they said the child from very infancy has been studied. One thing they do is the teacher studies the children.
Yes.
But we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have communication with our children. There is no interaction for us to see which area my child is
Is
good
developing,
in,
yes.
which is my child's interest,
Yeah.
what is my child good in, what is his weakness. We just lose them. And we
Yes.
leave them to the hand of the society.
Yeah.
So when it's time for the child to choose, and
Teacher.
and the teacher is guiding the child to choose maybe an area where the child is not very good in, you the parent, you don't have any mind, you don't have any hand in, because you don't know your child.
Yeah.
And when you don't know your child, like my brother was saying,
Yeah.
they will be going to one area and the area doesn't fit them because they are not good in there.
Yeah.
Then they said, I can't continue this one. Stop that course, follow another course.
Yeah.
Then they are still orienteering.
Yeah.
If they get a good place they fit in, they
Yeah.
can stay.
Yeah.
But in case they are going to this side, that side, and they don't find any place they fit in,
Yeah.
they drop out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember when I was myself in secondary school,
Yeah.
Form 4,
Yeah.
I hated my maths teacher to the bottom.
Hey, like me.
I didn't like him at
Yes,
all.
and me too.
It's a sign for my mother actually to have seen
Yeah.
that there is something wrong.
Okay.
But because it was also internat, boarding house,
Yeah.
there was no communication until you come back home.
It's true.
So before you come back home and you tell your parents this mass, they will ask you why this grade, and
Yes.
you will tell them every story.
Yes. it's
But
true.
to get to the roots, my mother would never have found it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't even going to the classes
Yeah.
because
you
I
may
didn't
be there,
like.
but absent.
You are
Yeah.
absent.
Honestly speaking.
Exactly. So our interaction with the children is very much important. If we get interacted with their affairs,
Yeah.
we may know them better, know their interests, so that in the choosing of the subjects, how can a 14-year-old choose his career or her career?
But actually, it is something possible, because when you have a child, and the child is telling you, this is what I would like to be.
Yeah.
The child may want to be an engineer,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to express it.
Yeah, exactly.
They will just be saying, I will be a pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will be flying over there.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to be an electronical engineer,
Exactly.
but he thinks that flying there
Yeah.
is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So we don't pick up those little signs which they are given, because
Yeah.
at the age of 14, a child must be able to know what
Yeah.
he or she wants to
Do.
depending on
Child.
the family background.
Yeah.
Exactly. And depending on the child also.
No,
because
because I believe if this child is from an educated family,
Yeah.
where they always talk about what you want
Exactly,
to be,
exactly.
the child may want to be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. That is when the child has been given her own freedom to choose.
Yeah.
But when it has been laid from above upon the child, you
Yeah.
are going to be a doctor. You yourself are already confused.
Yeah.
Before you get to secondary school Form 2 that you are supposed to choose your career, from your background you must be a doctor. And you yourself, you know within yourself you are not a doctor. So that is one area that we have to take good care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That means parents who are watching us must not be choosing the courses for their children. You must allow them. You know, sometimes as well, I see that there are some kids who can be so mean. You have come from this high elevated family, and now you just want to go and become a cleaner. There was this child who was always saying he wants to put up the fire. How can you be putting up fire? How can you be?
That is his interest.
You want to, anytime I ask this child, what do you want to be? To put on fire. Which kind of fire?
There's something.
He wants to be rescuing people. You know?
He has seen something.
A fireman. How can you be a fireman?
He has seen something.
He said no. He wants to carry it and go there, rescue people. So parents may not like that, like myself.
Exactly.
I did everything to talk this child out of this. Listen, after 2 years, are you still a fireman? Yes.
That is his calling now.
So let's assume that child happens to be mine. I don't want you to be a fireman.
Exactly.
I will do everything to make sure that you're a fireman. Do you understand?
So that will frustrate the child.
I frustrate me too.
Exactly.
So we have to agree. To come to a compromise.
Exactly.
Boy, read something else. You know, so sometimes it can be very frustrating, but at the end, I think it's important we give the child the opportunity to choose what the child wants to do.
That brings me, I read a story where there's this medical doctor, and the son was graduating from preparing to go to the university. And the boy told the father that, "Father, it's like I really want to go do music." The father said, over my dead body, I can never introduce my son as a musician. Well, the boy was smart enough, so he said, "Okay, what is it that you want me to do? I have to introduce my son as a doctor."
Exactly. That's
okay. He went to medical school. He did his 6 years medical. He finished everything. Went to do his housemanship and finished. When he has to go to work, he brought all the papers and gave it to the father. "Now you can introduce your son as a doctor. Can I go do my music?"
That's a respectful child.
Can I go do my music? Now I've given you 6 or 8 years of my life to satisfy you. Can I go do my music now? So the man, at that point, he realized what he has done to the child. You know, because instead of the child saying, "I gave you 8 years of my life," it's like, I've stolen 8 years of my child's life.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, so we have to watch these things. You know, there is a line, there's a thin line, you know, in nudging a child to say, "Okay, hey, take a look at this." You know, I'm encouraging them. Okay, she's doing FVO. Says, "Okay, what is it I know? I'd like to be a gynecologist, but I don't like blood."
Exactly.
Right? So I don't like blood. Okay, there are alternatives. Okay, you take a look at this aspect of it and say, "Okay, can I do this?" Because at a point you can simply become a consultant without being involved in the blood issue.
Exactly.
You know. But again, you can't push anything to a child. You know, you can nudge them, you can give them, you can sit down with them and evaluate things and say, "Okay, hey, let's evaluate this and see what's in," you know. So I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now the next question. Are there any safeguards against you to dropping out? Safeguards. Are there any safeguards?
Precautions.
Yes, exactly. Let's start from the woman of God.
Yes.
I think the youth wanted to start.
Okay, youth also.
Yeah, of course. I believe there are several opportunities, several ways, especially in this society. There are numerous ways of, you know, once you have been able to pick up on the possibility of a dropout, then I believe there are several ways that you can help them. First, you need to identify the reason why they are dropping out. So I think when you know that, then you can you can better tailor your the solution to that particular problem. I think Madam Caroline said something about the mentorship program, mentoring kids. A lot of times when youth are exposed to role models, it brings out that inner motivation. It helps them to know what they need to go for. So it may not necessarily be a person from the area where they want to push towards to, but it can still bring up an interest in themselves and motivate them to try and push further in school. Obviously we have identified several areas that could help, but that could be a source of youth dropping out. If it's financial, I think the solutions to that are different than when it is maybe purely from a motivational situation, or maybe because they are lacking an interest, or maybe if they are not just simply not up to the task of actually completing a particular course that they are following. That occurs as well. There are people, they start and they just find out down the line that it's a bit too much for them. So maybe they need to take a step back. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but people then need the right form of instruction, and that's where something like a mentorship program comes up. And I believe that in this city as well, there are several programs, some of them being offered by the government, the city, that helps the youth in the right direction. So my advice would be, first identify the source of the problem that is causing that potential dropout, and then seek help from any of these channels to try and help that situation.
But my question is, the youths themselves, are they very honest to themselves? Do you think that they are honest to say, this is really the reason why I'm dropping out of school?
I think sometimes they might not even know the reason. They may lose interest due to certain things, but they themselves cannot figure out until maybe they have reached certain age. Some problems like emotional, children also passes through a lot of stress. Some of these children are in abusive homes. They are in homes that there is no harmony, and when such a child is in the school, he's there in presence, but actually nothing is going in. So after some time, you may see this child not performing well. So if the parents are present, they can see the development of the child that is dropping and maybe step in. But if there is no parent available, it might be difficult until you get maybe a mentor like my colleagues are saying. At school, the mentors at school are also doing great. They might call you for conversation and see what is actually happening in your life. And sometimes, amazingly, they open up more to the mentors at school than to parents. So if you are not fortunate and your home is maybe an abusive home, before you are aware, there is fire on the mountain, because they will blow out everything. But actually, in the child's mind, it is not that she or he is going to report the home, but whatever is happening in a child's life is what the child is telling the mentor. So I think the mentorship, like we are all saying, is very, very important aspect. And I will also add this, since these children, most of them are also in the churches, that we include it in the church program. Expose them also to various activities that they can undertake in the society. It's very sad that in this society, they don't have more mentorship. They don't have role models that will show them it's possible. But we can also expose them to people who have failed several times in life, but have still made it. That it is not even too late. If you fail one time, that doesn't mean you cannot make it. With Oprah Winfrey was an example. The man who invented computer and all of them, they tried several times before they were able to achieve it. So sometimes we don't always have to get the best out of our children. When they fail, let's motivate them. Let's tell them, it is not too late. Even if you have failed, you are just building experience.
Yes.
Go forward in life and you can make it.
Yes, certainly. Yeah.
But are there some programs that may be necessary for the parents to undergo? Because if the parents are motivated themselves, they will be able to know the importance of this topic and know how to guide towards the education of their children.
I think if the parents are willing, there are lots of educational systems in this society.
But are they aware? Because sometimes we are thinking they are not willing. Are we expecting them to go to the library to read? Or are we expecting them to get the information from the city council? Or that those people who have developed such programs that can help them can get to the roots, they can go to the masses, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of these programs are just hanging there.
Yeah.
And these parents you've developed these things for are not aware.
Yeah. Mama, we are not aware because we don't want to read.
Oh, okay. So that
is
means it involves reading.
Exactly.
Well, the African woman or the average African woman don't like to read.
Exactly. That is
They
one
don't even
problem.
like to listen to news.
Exactly.
Except watch the soap series. That's all they do.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So how do we re-educate these people? How do we make sure that they are able to now read and write? And we are still talking about some of them not being able to read and write because they didn't have the education.
So it's to
How would they read now?
It's to go to them where they are, like
Yeah.
she's saying. So it's,
I
Yes.
have been a parent assistant in school for years.
Yes.
And my job is just to get parents involved in the activities of the children.
Yeah.
And you can go to the lowest level
Yes.
to try to tell a parent that this is important. Come listen to what your child is learning at school, so
Yeah.
you can also put a little effort at home to motivate that child.
Yeah.
But mostly what you hear is you are at your working place, me too, I'm going to work.
Oh.
So that tells me like
you tell her you
there is no interest. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. It tells
You
me
and
like
your
the
working
parent is not interested in whatever is going on.
Yes.
Because if we can come to that level, even if you want it to be done in Chi,
Yeah.
it's possible.
Yes.
In parents' meeting, if you want it to be done in English, every teacher speaks English. Even if they don't want to, they will get somebody who speaks English
Yes.
to translate for you.
Yes.
But it is your willingness. If you want to, or if only you want to, there is
Yeah.
access. There are enough access to
Really?
information.
So the problem is on our people. The parents not wanting.
Partially, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I also believe that I think one of the reasons why there seems to be a disconnect especially when it comes to parents and their involvement with the schools of their children. I think there is this belief that in this country everything is arranged, is set up well, and that in the end all will work out well.
Oh.
yes,
Yeah, an inherent belief that the system has been set up, the government has been set up, everything is working. You understand? So as a result, people can feel relaxed. All I need to do is send my kid to school, and at the end of 20 years or so, they will come out being the doctors that they want to be, or being the lawyers that they want to be.
Oh.
The role of a parent
In the school.
in actively being involved and guiding that process and helping their children to become what they eventually want to be. I believe that especially when it comes to our migrant parents, that we don't necessarily see that as that important, and that perhaps may have contributed to why parents don't get that involved. So as Mama was saying, the parents may be invited, but they feel like it is your job
to make sure
the child gets the good grades and understand
job.
what
The
teacher's
job.
job.
Oh, really?
That's the
So
message.
they know that it will they
It will end
believe
up
it will
well.
end up well, and perhaps that inherent belief gives you a form of relaxation that I can relax, all is well, and before you know it, things sort of can get out of hand. So I think, as you're saying, personally, I I don't want to sound bleak, but I think with our parents, there's still a lot we can do to help our parents
yes,
to,
I think
you know, to get more and more involved, to get more better understanding.
Yeah.
But I also believe on the other side that perhaps maybe for short term, because with the parents, then I think it's a long term situation, long term programs that perhaps will help better. But I think in the short term, especially when we are talking about the age group of 18 to 23, I think maybe more focus on the students themselves, I think will probably yield more results. I think the role of parents perhaps is much bigger at the much younger stage of the kids' education. And in this society, we have the leerplicht, so the young peoples before age 23 or so, they have to go to school. Yes, but you know, because of that, when they get to maybe 18 and you know, when they don't have that pressure anymore, that then it really must more or less come from themselves. You know, the role of the parents become more and more minimized. They are more for the, you know, to help and to assist. They don't play that integral role. So I believe that at that stage, maybe more focus on the students themselves, the youth themselves, perhaps will yield more results.
Even as I'm listening to you people, you know, my mind was just cracking on something. I think we can come up with a sort of program. I gave it a name now. Celebrating the migrant child. You know, just celebrating the migrant youth. We can come up with that program every year. It becomes like an annual award. You know, we just zoom into all the families, the members, you know. So those who have graduated and those who are entering into colleges, into universities, and you know, we zoom and then we give an award. I think something like that. When a family is here and then none of your child have been chosen for one of these, I mean, it will call for you to readdress and talk with your kids. What are you people really doing? You know. So every family will want to have somebody who have gotten an award from this celebration, you know. I think that would be like an eye opener, or it would be like something to try to make the youths become more desirous. Also the parents to now watch out to knowing what their children are doing and how far they are progressing. You know, it's a motivational award. That I think that will be something. Yes, it will do something. You know.
Mama, let me bring our mind back a little bit to science. You know, children from that stage are not stabilized. Science tells us that the main human being, the development of the brain takes place until a child is 23 to 25 years. So from the age of 13 years, these children, you see them being rough, you see in their rooms, you see in the way they walk, the way they dress up, and until they are 23 till 25 years, sometimes they are not able to focus, they cannot plan. They have a lot of things going on in their minds themselves. So they need guidance. It is a time that sometimes, because they want their liberty to be free from parents, also they shun you, the parents. So if you don't take care, you can never be a friend to that child. So it is a challenge for the parent to find a way of becoming a friend to the child, so that you can guide the child. Or if you are fortunate and, like Mama is saying, mentorship, and your child finds some mentor among your neighbor, be friend to that mentor and relate to the child to make sure you shape the direction of the child. Because they themselves don't even know what is going on in their lives. They are not fully developed. Their minds are not fully developed. That's they call it frontal corp is now in development. So until that one is fully developed, the child doesn't even know what she wants. And sometimes they would go here, stop, go there, stop, because they really don't know what they are.
And by this age you are mentioning, then we expect the child to have already graduated. And the child have gotten first degree from what he didn't even
but it happens all the time. And that is also one of the reasons that the government laid a limit on how long people are allowed to study because in their view it will cost too much eventually.
Yeah.
Because people will then finish one course and find out that, oh, this is actually not what I wanted to do.
Then they will go again. They
will
will
go
use their
again.
money to train themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, in this country, if you want to do that, then it's going to cost you a lot. So eventually, you that's why you need, you know,
what you didn't plan.
Yeah, you have to settle in it all. At least try to plan very well when going in, because yeah, it's not that easy. You know, and for myself, for example, I could say that I was not able to orient very well before entering into university.
Yeah.
Could not really orient very well on all the possibilities out there. So eventually, when I started my first year, luckily for me, it was a course that I liked.
Yes.
I liked doing. But at the time, I felt like now I was getting more information about other, you know, subjects and other things, and all of a sudden I felt like, okay, I could have done other things better, perhaps that could have fit in better for me. And you know, a lot of people, when they come to that stage, then they get to wondering, do they stop and perhaps pursue something else, or you know, do they continue? And when you stop and you go into something else, like Mama was saying, you think maybe this will be the one, but when you start, that's when you really find out whether it's what you want. Yeah, and when it turns out it's not that one again, it becomes an issue. And yeah, I've come across people also, actually even you know, white friends who also have to deal with the same situation.
Yes.
So it's not even only limited to people from migrant backgrounds, but it seems to be that when in our case, this case is a bit more, it's a bit more problematic, a bit more exacerbated. Yeah. So I think that the best thing, as we have shared, you know, to get it would be very good if you have the people who around you who can direct you, because I found that a lot of times that most of my white counterparts, they knew exactly what they were looking for in school. They knew that they had to be, this is the course that they want, this is the career that they want out of it, and these are the things that during the school time that they needed to do. So they were more involved with networking and you know, being part of career days and you know, all those sort of things. Whereas myself, all I knew was study.
I tell
you know. And so at the end of 3 years, then you find out that you have gained a lot of knowledge, you have studied, you have gotten your grades, you have your diploma, but the practical aspect of things, you lack it.
Exactly.
And it would have been much better if you have people around you who have been through the same process, who can guide you through that process. And it is indeed much better to, you know, that I think, as we've been sharing, have that network of, you know, mentors, of people who can help in that process.
It's true.
I think that would be very, very useful for the migrant youth.
Yes.
Mama, this one is not only for migrants. There is a professor who's called Gardner. He did investigation into this intelligence level of every human being.
Yes.
And he came out from we call it talent. I call it talent. Okay. But he calls it intelligence. That everyone has about 12 intelligent area. Every person.
Really?
So you may be very good at making glasses, but you may also be very good in making tables. So it will still come back to communicating with somebody like parents, someone you can trust, to direct you to the right course. That is why it's not only black community, but everyone who is developing will find out, I am good at this, but at a particular stage, I think biology would have been better for me if I did biology. At the same space, you would think, it would have been better for me if I did in human relations. It is not bad. But you need to find out which ones are the things that excel. And from what it excels, it will certainly make room for you.
Yes, exactly.
So that is one thing parents need to be looking at and helping the children towards them to direct the children in
it's
those
very
areas.
Important because sometimes when a child goes to take a course that cannot sell, then the child will come out being handicapped. You've read what you wanted to read, but then you see that's the reason why Igbo people or Igbo parents always want that they read those known professional courses. Because a doctor
want it to sell.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, you are not coming out to say you didn't read anything and you want to depend on people anymore. You see, so it's very, very important that we know what we are choosing at the right time. Any other question, please, before we sign up? How may we combat youth dropping out of school? Is that not the same thing? How may we combat it?
We've been discussing.
I think it's more or less.
That's part of what we've just discussed. So, does the government have any correctional remedies for dropout youths? Okay, let's ask from who have been working with the system.
With the government.
So, Reverend Mrs., do they have some correctional measures?
I think from the classrooms itself, when they see these signs, they will try to correct it together, even from very early age. Try to correct it earlier by involving the parents. They have something they call leerplicht, something like that. That you, as a mother, you are co-responsible to make sure that the child comes to school. But unfortunately, it ends at 18 when the child gets 18 years.
Of course, so 18 is solid.
But after 18 years, the child is on its own. Sometimes they even write a letter to the child without even involving you. So
which is a problem.
That is the problem. So when the child wants you to see the letter, is when you see it. Or when the child doesn't, sometimes if you're lucky and send it through the post box, you may take the letter and see it. But unfortunately, sometimes they send it through the mail of the child. And if it is through the mail of that child, you may not see whatever is happening in school, whether the child is going to school. So they still have these measures to make sure that the children stay in school until they first their first degree that will enable them to get job on the market. That is a law already, that the children must get a law degree, something that they will hold, a diploma that will make them be dependent on themselves, independent on themselves before they leave out of school.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, that's a good one.
I think obviously when you get to that matured age, it becomes, society is more like, it's now your responsibility. So it is more or less up to you. So the government doesn't really force it. So on parents and also on the student themselves. I believe it's up to like 21 or so that the government can still put enforce measures on you completing school. And I believe that when you have started with a course at the higher education level, when you have started and you don't finish, then you have to pay back the money that the government invested. So that is a form of let's say a penalty that
for you not finishing school.
Precisely. So that's a form of penalty that is there perhaps to motivate people to actually finish what they started. And at times it has been counterproductive, but perhaps generally speaking, I think it has been successful in pushing people towards actually making the right decisions in the first place, and then trying to complete what they have started. So I think from one point leerplicht, and from the other side also with the with the penalties that are involved with quitting. I think those are perhaps some of the ways.
Already, would they find it? Would they see it as something demanding just to pay back? They're already working, so they have the money, so they can easily pay.
So at 18, because just like we're saying, at 18 the government leerplicht is finished, right? Leerplicht is you're not obliged to go to school anymore. So at 18 you can, when you find your job, the government don't have anything from you.
They are obliged. But they lay the responsibility on the child,
yeah.
not the parents.
Okay, to
to
go to school.
For 23 years, you must go to school.
Yes.
But the responsibility is no more
on the parents, on you yourself.
Because you're of age.
See, I like that aspect of it, where if you don't finish, you give us our money back. You know?
I like that one too.
If you finish, you keep it. If you don't finish, you give our money back. So that motivates the ones who wants to
from
stop.
Your findings,
you know?
do you think the migrant children have been given back a lot, or have they been responding to this?
Not really. I think now the system has changed, and I think a lot of people actually believe that it has not changed for the better of the migrants, especially. Nowadays, when you go to higher level education, so the HBO and university, you have to take a loan, or the money that you get from the government is no more a gift as it used to be, but now it's a loan.
Yes.
And what it turns out that migrants, especially people from African backgrounds, tend to be very reluctant in lending money. And as it turns out, it has had a limiting effect on people actually going to school. So in the statistics, it turns out that since the introduction of the loan system, that lesser amount of people with migrant backgrounds are, minorities, let's put it that way, are going to higher level education.
Well, because they don't want to borrow, is that what you mean?
Yeah, because they don't want to borrow, they don't want to have a debt after completing the education. So a lot of times what people do is that they work a lot and they try to save up some money to be able to go to school. And so when you have that situation, and usually also during the time of their course, they're also working as well, that can also be very stressful, detrimental to your progress in school. So that system for migrants especially, and people with migrant backgrounds, it has not been very helpful.
Yes.
You see that the volume of the amount that people are lending has skyrocketed more or less, but that's mainly been the white people. But the migrants have been borrowing less and been trying to use more of their money, and so it has been.
Is there like a time when the white student would not be able to pay, and the debts are being erased?
Yeah, I think you get, I believe, 30 years or so after your after completion. When you start working, you have like, I think 15 to 30 years, something like that, to pay back the money. And if within that time you are not able to pay back, then it is erased. It is erased, yeah. But then obviously, if you will be after school, you would like to work, so there is a very high probability that you have to pay back.
It's a problem everywhere, not only here in America.
It's definitely
a massive issue.
High. The one of America is too high.
It's definitely going to change, because things are moving in a very, very fast, very, very fast way.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to getting the right information. Right. It all comes back to getting the right information. Because, for example, money, all of you go through school. It's difficult. A lot of people don't know how money works.
Tell us. A
lot of people don't know how money works. Because, okay, for example, now, my daughter was working.
Yeah.
Instead of opening a normal savings account with the bank, which gives about, is it 0.5% or whatever it is.
Probably less now, yeah.
I have to tell her, open an account with Robeco. Now, Robeco, well, I don't want to say anything here, but there you get about 6 to 8% comparatively with the bank. Now, but that information is what, okay, I say that, okay, I'll going to sit down with with the pastor and tell all the children who are working, throw in 50 euros inside. Instead of taking 150, go and buy Nike or whatever you buy.
Yeah.
Throw 50 inside. As I told my kids, because you start young, you don't need that money right now. You can manage with what you have. But by the time you finish, you realize you have 10, these white people, they do. By the time you finish, you realize you have 10,000, some 5,000, 10,000 somewhere growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't need to touch it. You make it automatic, which means every time you have your 300 comes in, or 50 goes there.
Exactly.
Right? I told them that you have to learn money.
Yeah.
Learn money, because if you don't learn, it says if you don't, Warren Buffett, the second richest man in the world, he make a statement that if you don't learn how to make money while you're sleeping, you're gonna work for the rest of your life.
Jesus.
Right? So which means people have to learn how money works, and then, because that aspect that we sometimes, like what we may say, this is counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. Like you say, some people drop out because they realize, hey, I have a talent I want to follow, right? But if they know in their heart that, hey, that's what I want to do, and let's let them do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because education is actually, for me, I hold it that it's not for everybody. Right? I have 4 kids. If one will come tomorrow and say, "Mom, I don't want," I'll say, okay, sit down, let's discuss. What is it that you really want to do? If you don't want to study, what do you want to do? And then we work it out and say, okay, hey, I realize you have a talent. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But then there must be that talent, that aspect, that the child is free to talk to you about what they really desire to do.
Yeah.
But I say again, it's education, teach information, the right information. So for me, the migrant, what I'm seeing right now is that we need to set up a mentoring thing. You're a teacher, right? Where we bind people together, maybe 4 or 5 kids, like for you. It's not like you have to meet with them every day. No, but these kids, they can pick up the phone and call you and say, "Auntie, listen, what can I do in this area? Help me." So you can point them to some directions. Because if we know that there's some weakness in relation to their parents, there's nothing we can do. We cannot send these women to school anymore. I've been helping one day. She's 64 years old. They told her she was sick. She couldn't go to work again. Then they told her to go and learn Dutch. She said at 64 she's going to learn Dutch to take it to work. But I told her to go, because staying at home doesn't help you either. Because I said, just it's once a week, so go. You socialize with people, because not the language, but the fact that you get out of the house. So she did. That helps her.
Yes.
So we're looking at this and trying to figure out all these things which are going on. Again, the kids are 18, 19, 20. Sometimes they tell, hey, I have rights, I have my rights. I want to leave the house, I've had kids who came to me, I want to leave the house. My parents are doing it. I said, okay, listen, sit down, let's talk. So she sat down, and then we talked, and then I told her, simply give her the
pros and the cons.
Yes, I gave her the pros and the cons of leaving home. She told me, my parents, I want to go and take a room somewhere. I said, okay, that's fine. It's a good idea. You'll be free. But if you do that, you're leaving your own room, your comfortable room in your mom's house. You're going to take a room in somebody else's house. Does that make sense? She looked at me. She said, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But guess what? What happened? She finally completed her school and worked. And told me, okay, now I'm working full time. Can I leave? I said, no. Because what you do, if you work full time 2-3 years at home, as long as mama is not pushing you out, stay there, support her, but save money.
Exactly.
So by the time she left home, she had 10,000 to pay down for a house. She bought instead of renting.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You see, so these things is like, okay, if she was not bored, she came to me, hey, my friends, we're going to Paris for birthdays. but I don't feel like going. What should I do? They are my friends. So I said, call them, they are your friends, and tell them that your life has changed. You people were growing up, but right now you don't feel comfortable. They are drinking beer, you used to drink, but you don't drink anymore. So tell them, say, so time for say bye.
Exactly, that's the end.
So it's, for me, it's this kind of things that I look, when I look back and I look at a situation like that, so, you know what, top.
Well done.
And now she can play example to the other children.
Yeah.
You can point to them and say, see,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's for us, it's like that's what we can do. So she feel free to talk to me about that, but she wanted to run away from her mother's house. But so she couldn't talk to her mother in relation to that.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so I had to talk her out of moving away from the house by showing her, weigh it yourself. And then she came to the conclusion that, okay, I think it's a good idea that I stay. You know, so
I believe the parents themselves should also do something. You know, if you do not have certain things in you and you see other parents having those features, but you were denied maybe for one thing or the other, then let them try to as well go closer to those ones who have what they would have liked to have, you know, than to feel inferior and distance themselves.
Yeah.
So there should be something to pair people like that, not only the youths, but also to pair parents with parents, so that this one can gain something from the other one.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
One
last one, because I think Mama was making a point about the role of the church, actually, and I think that was also, that's a very good one as well. As for us, the migrants, that's one thing that we have that can be that can be very helpful. I believe that there is in all of this also a role that the church can play in, you know, empowering the youth and actually, you know, bringing out the people. So there can be all kinds of programs that can be organized for the youth to try and empower them. And I think that can be very useful as well. So
I think that is very important. Also, the professionals among the pastors should also come up with empowerment schemes, you know, so that the church members should be able to see that, okay, you are not just only a pastor, but you are also another personnel in this area. So there are people who may there are people who may be loving me as a pastor, and others may love me as a pastor's wife. But there are also those who will love me as a media personnel, because they've not seen that side of me. They've not seen my other side as a consultant, a relationship consultant. They have not seen that side of me as a women empowerment coach. They've not seen that side of me. Okay, so I think if we, from time to time, let's pay the professionals among the pastors, do a common program for Christendom, whereby these professionals, these pastors who are also professionals, they can showcase what they can do. They can showcase what they can do, you know. So in showcasing what they can do, I think those in our the congregation, they will say, oh, I thought she's just only a mommy or suffer. I don't know that she is this and she is that. You know, some may desire to become. To become a financial guru.
Can PCC do that?
That we have to suggest.
Can PCC do that?
Yes, we have to suggest
because
that.
PCC already has a number of...
what happens is that the church have a lot of role to play here. Because the migrant child is only seeing the pastor also as a role model, and the pastor can really say something which this migrant child can run with. And some of our kids, which what also I do not like is that many of them, just because they only see church as the social environment around them, they all want to become pastors. You don't need to be pastor because I'm a pastor. No. You have to be what God wants you to be. Okay? So I see that the youths, every one of them just want to be pastor. Where are those who want to be career pursuers and who want to do other things? Where are they? Everybody must not end up in the pulpit. So we don't need to also encourage that, because it's like the pastors here are only encouraging the youth. So every one of you have to become Mami Osofo and whatever. No, you can be who God wants you to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Develop, because if those kids begin to know that some of us have other diplomas apart from just being in the pulpit, then they will know, oh, okay. Oh, you studied in Erasmus, you finished so year, and this is who you are.
Exactly.
Then they will know that you are not just preaching, you know. You didn't just find yourself preaching, it's just that God put you in that corner. So I think that would be enough to encourage them as well.
Yes, certainly.
You know? All right, so that is it. I believe that we have done justice to this.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, certainly.
Before we sign off, what can you look into the camera and say something? What is the hope you have for Amsterdam South Coast? What's the hope?
Yeah, my hope is that Amsterdam Southeast will become a beacon of talent.
Yes.
We have so many young people here. We have so many people with all manner of talent in all departments of society. So my hope is that, you know, when we do our best to harness those talents, that we, you know, Amsterdam Southeast will become a place where talent, real talent, can be found. And I believe that will be a platform for the next generation of migrants who will be in this part of the city.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, let me hear.
I think he has put all in a nutshell, but my hope for the Amsterdam Southos in the coming years is, as we are so multicultural, with different talents, different abilities, different capabilities, may we get that respect for each other's talent. That it doesn't matter that this one is a prophet, I need to be a prophet. This one is a professor, I need to be your own.
Yes, be your own.
Whatever God has made you to be, polish that one out. And let's see the beauty of creation that God has created in Amsterdam. And it is possible.
It is.
If we give everybody the room to be whom the person is, we will see this beauty in Amsterdam.
Exactly. Not trying to be another person.
No.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Deaconess.
Yes, my hope for Amsterdam Southos youths is to, like I've said from the very beginning, is to see that in the coming years we have the ability even to capture those students who have dropped out and still hanging out around, to be able to capture them and get them to be able to discover the deeper things that is inside of them that they can use to be productive in the society, because the fact that they've dropped out doesn't mean that they don't have anything. We can still harness whatever they have, bring it out of them, and let them be productive members of our society. You know, and that will make Amsterdam Southos is already beautiful. You know, I'm not leaving anytime soon to anywhere. So we just have to make use of those that are available here, and you know, and see that the future, the name of Southos will be indeed Southos.
Wow. Well, for me, I think the youths of Amsterdam Southeast have a lot to still do, because it's like we are rounding up this discussion, but I still see that there's a lot of I don't know what to say. I don't know how to really put it through, but I would like to see them synergizing with others. You synergize. That means you don't continue to be working in isolation. Okay? Bring what you have. Let this other you bring what they have. Let this other group bring what they have, and you synergize. There's power in synergizing. Do you understand? Because when you continue to do it just on your own, you may not arrive. So there are those who are called. There are those among them who are called probably to be in the pulpit, but that shouldn't be everything. That shouldn't be. You are doing a good job if that is what you are pursuing now. But let the other ones who want to, you know, who want to pursue some careers. Let them come out.
Yeah.
Let them come out and let them synergize with those ones who want to be in the pulpit.
Yeah.
You know, let the engineers synergize with those who want to be in IT. Those who want to be in the financial sector. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do. When they begin to synergize that way, can you imagine how they can stand and be thick and tall, you know, nothing pulling them down. Because we can be found in every aspect. Do you understand me? Not just to be very parochial, just pursuing because my father is a reverend, so every one of us we must. No. Let's diversify and then still be a front that the government can reckon with. That is the challenge I'm throwing to our youths. You can do it. You can really do it. Just like the panelists they have said, both those who failed out and those who are falling in, there is something you can still need one another for. So let's not give up because it's not time to give up. And for the parents as well, look, I don't think there is any limit for you to go to school. You can still go to school, better yourself, and be like so. There was this pastor, I end up with this story. There was this pastor, 2002, while I was busy looking for a way to rally the pastor's wives for what we can be doing together. So I went to this pastor's wife, but then she was only smiling and smiling. She was not responding to everything I was saying. So the husband now called me aside and said, you know, Mama Helen, I say, no, my wife will always like to be like you. If there's somebody my wife likes, she likes you too much. She said, this woman will sit among men and she's not swallowed up. All the time you see her sitting with men and they are talking. He said, I love that woman so much. So then I said, oh, but why is she not talking to me? She said, because she can't communicate. She can't speak English. So and I can't speak Twi. So she only give me the smile. So in that smile, I could not read her.
She likes you.
Now, you know what has happened? Because she loved me so much, this woman was always telling the husband, I want to be like her. As I'm speaking to you, she has finished her first degree. She's going in now for second degree in England. Because the man called me the moment the wife got admission, where they worked out her paper because she didn't even go to elementary school, but somehow along the line they used experience to cover some certain areas for her, and now they had to. She now was looking for a way. They told her she is going to do 2 years before they push her into university. And now she has eventually gone into university. This pastor just picked phone and called me. He said, Mama Helen. I said, yes. Can I say something to you? I said, you are no more the only one that's going to be speaking English because my wife. He said, my wife has learned how to speak English. She's now speaking English. And then I said, really? He told me, not only that, I have another news. She is now into the university. Hallelujah. You see, that encouragement, it means a lot. So there are so many other women out there. They may be admiring you, they may be admiring you, they may be admiring me. They want to do something. They should not be handicapped. They should not be hindered. You can still go to school and become better than us. So there is no barrier, there is no age limit to one going to school. So having discuss this elaborately, I believe that we've done justice to it. And we want to thank everybody who have listened to us, and first and foremost, those of you who did justice to the topic. I want to say a big thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And those who are watching us, please, I believe those who made their contributions through the Facebook and through the WhatsApp, we also say thank you to you. And then keep watching Majesty TV, and God richly bless you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Just wave those hands to the heavens.